Kun Johnny Peeps, and welcome to my study. Sondag aand, 26 October 2025, 20 to 10 at night. Guys, yes, so we are busy with the marketing funds and how that works. So, okay, let me give you the lowdown on that. I'm going to try and simplify it as far as possible so that we can get it to understand. It does get a bit complicated. I mean, even us being in the game don't understand what's going on here. So if I try and explain it and you don't really get it, my peeps, you are good, because nobody understands these things. Anyhow, let's get down to it. So marketing funds are funds that are set up, or marketing businesses. In actual fact, in franchising is a business that is set up to market specifically that franchise brand. So the law is fairly specific or very uncomplicated around it. It says that, and this is broad-based, we'll get to legislation that controls franchising in South Africa. I think we'll do that in episode 6, because it is going to be interesting for people to know that what sort of law governs franchising and what stands to happen if a franchisee is disgruntled about anything. But we'll get around to that. Okay, marketing. Let's take in the case of Mozambique, because what we said is that I'm busy with that, so I'm talking out of my experience. Mozambique has got a franchise business, which is the business that has got the operational side of the business in mind. That looks after what happens at stores, what happens at head office level. But your guess at this stage is as good as mine. But in any case, anywho, marketing. Mozambique has got a Mozambique marketing business, and within the perimeters of law, it says that you should, if you are a franchisor, have your marketing company completely separate from your operating company. The simple reason for that being that the marketing funds are not there for profit. It's there for marketing of the businesses, and the law also extends to a point where it says that a franchisor should never have a benefit over a franchisee from a marketing fund. So that's as easy as it gets. Nobody should have a benefit over anybody else. So this means that if you as much as had a sign made for your store that is bigger than any other franchisee's sign or bill that you paid for out of the marketing fund, it's wrong. If your menus are paid for out of the marketing fund and your franchisees are not, it's wrong. Okay, so let's first talk about income, and then we'll talk about where money gets spent. Okay, income for a marketing fund is a percentage of the store's turnovers excluding VAT. So that works in, as far as I know, quite a few of the franchise concepts. There is one, however, that works a bit different, and in my view and opinion, up to this stage, Pizza Perfect is a good example of how marketing should be working. But let's leave that at that for now. Marketing. So let's talk about where the money comes from. That's the percentage, is the first one. Let me pull out my big calculator. Okay. Let's take a group like Mozambique, for instance, and this is where we said marketing millions, because it does boil down to millions. I am going to conservatively guess that the Mozambique group turnover for last year would have probably been around 500 million rand. When I say that, that is all stores in the group contribute towards a turnover for the group, and that's what you consider as your group turnover. So let's say conservatively 500 million times 2%. That, guys, is 10 million rand a year to spend on marketing. Now, there's question marks around it in Mozambique, and I'm not going to raise all the question marks, but some of them are, did everybody contribute to the marketing fund? If yes, what was the percentage? Was it the same for all stores? Was it not the same for all stores? You know, I know that there were franchisees beginning when I started off that weren't happy about the fees and how the money got spent. And it was always sort of a question mark. Are they wrong? Are we wrong? You know, I'm not quite sure, but we continuously got the question, are we happy with marketing? And my answer continuously was, yeah, I'm okay. You know, it's because we did marketing local and we saw some marketing, but it's not to the tune of what we paid for. You know, and that's pretty much where the first problem came, is that at some stage we decided that we would request from the franchisor the business documents, the financial statements for the marketing fund, because we wanted to see how this thing fits together. Are we getting value for our money? What's going on here? And also in law, we are allowed to ask it, and they are not allowed to deny it from us. But silence, I suppose, is also just an answer, because that's pretty much what we faced for the last 3 months, silence. The last 3 years, silence. Guys, it's something that I get sweaty about, is the marketing funds, because some stores pay for it, some stores don't pay for it. Who benefits, who doesn't benefit? How do we benefit? You know, this is the questions that we have to ask, so we'll get around to that. Let's talk about part 2 of the income for a marketing fund. Now, the second part of the income that they've got is from what we call in industry brand companies. And how this works is actually quite simple and straightforward. Is a brand company would pay for advertising space, marketing and advertising space, which means a company would say, we are giving you umbrellas for all your stores. If you've got 30 stores and every store needs 10 umbrellas, it's 300 umbrellas that need to go out. That specific supplier will pay for the umbrellas, and it will be dispatched across the brand into stores. So that gives a brand company coverage. Now, when I talk about brand companies, guys, in the restaurant industry, it's very specific to liquor. Now, before everybody jumps up and has a hissy fit and hernia, in South Africa, and yes, there's going to be people that differ from me, but I am talking out of my experience, and I'm talking out of an experience from a franchisee perspective and from a franchise environment perspective. I'm not talking about your upmarket chef-driven restaurants. That is something completely different. We need to understand that we cannot compare ourselves. We don't trade in the same space. We don't serve the same clientele. It's basically what I'm talking about, franchising business.